1-3, the police are requesting an ambulance to detail man screaming for one. Inside the Irish Social Club at number 19 Park Street, West Roxbury.
This works a lot better if you don't mute your mic. Good grief. So anyhow, like I was saying, we're going to mulch the crop. It's going to give us a small yield bonus. We're trying to get our yield up to 100%, and to do that, well, there's a couple steps that we have to do. First thing is going to be to mulch the crop. Once we have it mulched, then we can move on to our next step, which would be to cultivate this field. And once we've cultivated it, we'll lime the field. And as you can see right here, it needs to be limed, it needs to be plowed, it needs to be rolled. So actually, instead of plowing it, we may just, or cultivating it, we may just go ahead and plow it. That way we can remove that plow state that it needs. You know, that gives us that bonus. So just stick to this one field. We won't do any of the other fields. That way things can move along a little quicker. We'll have this one done in no time. How about FS22 was announced? I don't know if anybody heard that news this past week. Man, that was great news. Really looking forward to that. They got some really cool stuff in that game. Just from the blog post, there's some pretty exciting changes that are coming. It's like, you know, I've seen kind of both sides of the conversation so far since the announcement, and there's several people who say the same old thing when every game comes out, nothing's new, and then there's other people who see the differences and get really excited. I see the differences and I'm really excited. You know, there's just from the blog post, there's several different changes. I mean, with dynamic lighting, which would be nice because like these reflections in the hood, I mean, I got a little glare there and it looks nice and glossy, but there's no actual reflection. With that dynamic lighting, there will actually be reflections, which will be really nice to see. Wow, now back over. There we go. You know, like I said, it'll show the actual reflections, you know, that you'll be able to see in surfaces. It's not a big deal, but I mean, it's nice. You know, it's an added layer of detail. The dynamic weather, from what we've seen of that, it's going to be fog. You know, in the mornings, you come out into your farm and you can have some fog rolled across the fields. That's going to be pretty nice. You know, I mean, it just adds another layer of immersion for you. I would think fog on this map would be amazing because it's such an Americana feel to this map. You know, and it has that. For me, it has a bit of a southern vibe, and it just would be really cool to have that. You know, kind of southern feel. You walk out on those foggy, muggy mornings. It's pretty neat. You know, it'd be kind of, it would be neat. It's not neat to go out on a foggy, muggy morning, but it would be neat to have that in your game, that extra layer of immersion. You know, new animals. They haven't announced all the animals yet. Just the buffalo, but that's pretty cool. New crops, spinach and rice. Spinach has got a pretty unique way of being harvested, which makes it an interesting crop to have. And same thing with rice. There'll be two versions of rice, the wet and the dry. So that's kind of cool. All right, so now we need to plow. And this over here is not a plow, but it's a subsolar. Now, some of the subsolars that you can get will actually remove the plow state, but it has to be a deep subsolar. So get this thing out of here. Whoa, that was an interesting little glitch. Come over here and set her up. All right. That'll be good. Now, for plows, come into plows. There's a bunch of different kinds of plows, and they're relatively inexpensive because, I mean, it's just a tool that drags behind the tractor. It doesn't have any real extra functions to it. You know, this is only 6 meters wide, and that's a really big plow. Look how big that thing is. Whenever you pull it behind, it'll drag off at an angle, and it'll only be 6 meters wide. So that's a lot of plow to manage just for 6 meters. But what you can do is you can get a subsoiler, and there's different types of subsoilers. You know, you have cultivators. These will not remove the plow stake, you know, but they will prepare your field. If it doesn't need to be plowed and you don't have a seeder that does direct drilling, then you can use one of these. Now, our seeder does not direct drill, so we're going to have to prepare the field for it. So we're going to have to plow. These disc harrows, same thing. You can cultivate with these, but they do not remove the plow stake. Without removing the plow stake, you won't get that extra bonus. So, and then you have power harrows. You know, these also prepare the field. It's just it's like a tiller. You know, it's just if you've ever planted a garden yourself and used one of those little power tillers, that's kind of what a power harrow is. Runs behind the plow. Then you have subsoilers. Now, subsoilers, it says it can be used instead of a plow, right? These will actually remove the plow stake, and you can find some really good ones in the mod hub that are, you know, say like a 6 meter one, like that plow, but it's set up more like this, where it attaches directly to the back of the tractor. It's much easier to manage. And then you have some others. Now, some of these require a good bit of horsepower, but this one is not so bad. And as far as this starter farm here, this one works pretty good. So we'll go ahead and drop that down, we'll lock it in, and we'll start going forward. All right, now let's hop out. You can see here it still says it needs plowing. We come back here and it's gone. No longer needs to be plowed. This over here does. Step back in here. Doesn't need to plow. So we'll go ahead and plow up the field real quick. That's another thing about the subsoiler. It's quicker than a plow. Now, I do believe I have this one a little bit modified. It shouldn't go quite this fast. Maybe 9 miles an hour, not 13 miles an hour. But that's just for the sake of time. Drop that back down. I'm going to get all this plowed up. Then we can come back and we can plant some seeds. Now, I do keep raising the tool at the end of the row. You don't have to do that. If you don't, it can get you into some trouble occasionally. Like, you can end up going over, you know, say you're trying to turn around right here and you don't pick it up. Well, you just cultivate the edge of your field there and tear up all the whatever you have planted. So you'd have to redo it. So it can be a good idea to lift her up. I missed that little spot. It'll be okay. Getting her done. This doesn't take very long. We're going to end up changing all these to grass fields just because it's a great way to make money, especially when you're starting off. You see, I mean, all we've done is spend money. We haven't made any money, and we're down to 36,000. Not do that same thing again. It's something that you have to learn to do, is to manage your money whenever you're doing this. Sometimes it's better to lease equipment. Sometimes it's better to buy. It really just depends. Leasing equipment's not very expensive. It can save you a lot as far as your money goes. Allow you to use nicer equipment so that you can have extra money on hand for other things, whether it be buying more fields or whatever, or just being able to have the money for seeds and fertilizer. When you first get started off, it can be a bit rough. You know, the game is a little tough on you. As you progress, things become easier. You get bigger, larger, nicer equipment, and you get to do more and more advanced things in the game. It's I guess just kind of part of the progression, I guess you could say, of the game. You can really start at any point that you want with it, but you just want to skip a row, hop out. I'm using the GPS. I just locked it in at the wrong time. It's not like it's a big deal. Just scoot down here and turn around. Go back the other way. It's going to have to do it anyhow. Like that. And we'll get that last little strip. And then this field, once we get through plowing it, it's ready to be planted. So we can get our planter and we can start planting our grass so that it can get started, and then we'll get started on our next steps after that. And see if we can't get our yield up to 100%. And done. All right. Go. Just take and set this over here, out of the way. So we need to go grab our seeder. Now this seeder does not fertilize, it only seeds. If you have a seeder that will seed and fertilize, you can put down a fertilizer state at the same time that you are putting your seeds in the ground, and that keeps you from having to fertilize the field twice. As it stands, we're going to have to fertilize this field twice. Get ourselves lined up. And cut that on. Away we go. Now that's going to be planting for us. You see in this field, it doesn't show anything in this field now because we've plowed it. If you look here where we just planted, it shows the grass. So let's go ahead and get this thing all planted up. If we would have used a plow, the texture here would have been different on the field. Because we used a subsoiler, we still have some of that wheat debris in the crop, or on the surface there, which is, it's no big deal. Depending on the different tools, you get different textures. You can see that layer where it's been planted. Slight difference in the texture. Now part of it is a little lighter. This is over, it's a little darker. It is subtle, but you can see the ridges in here too where it's been planted. These small planters like this or seeders are great for these small fields. You know, you don't need anything really large. The large equipment is nice. I mean, you can knock it out in no time, but as soon as it's knocked out, then you got nothing to do. So these, you know, these are great for these smaller fields. They're connected directly to the back of your tractor, so you don't have to worry about them swinging out wide or you having to get your angles as you go around corners because they're tailing off kind of like a trailer. We're almost halfway done with this already. Yep. Not even show you guys where a collectible or two is. When we get done with our planting here. Old Grayson's gas station. I really like the models in this game. I think they all look really nice. If you've just picked this up and you happen to stumble across this video and because you were wanting to learn some stuff about Farming Simulator, I can tell you, just take you a drive around some of these maps. They can be really diverse. Just this map itself. I mean, you got this small kind of residential area right through here, and then down on the other end, you can see the water tower above the trees. You know, there's an actual town over there. It's got a baseball field. You know, it's really neat. But it's not everything about this map. If you go to the southern end of this map, there's a recreation department down there. It's got a small lake, you know. It's really cool. A lot of your grass fields are up to the northeast on this map. If you like, you know, I mean, we're planting grass here, but if you're looking to get you some more grass fields, you can get some up there that are already planted. They're smaller fields, kind of like this, so they're not going to be overly expensive. Just build your grass empire. You can see the corn growing through right here. That's a small field right there. It's probably smaller than the field that we're in, but it's attached to a larger field. And you actually have little pathways to the trees. So as you grow this particular part of your farm, you can add those fields and they still feel like they're part of your farm because you have roads that go through to them. There's just some really well thought out ways that they've built these maps. Makes it feel like it's, it's your place. Not like you just getting it from some NPC. This feels more organic. But we're almost done with this, so then we'll be on to our next step. We'll need to lime the field. Now, I'm no real farmer, so if there's a real farmer that sees this and says, no, you shouldn't lime first, you should fertilize first and then lime, or however, if I'm out of order with it, I don't know. I'm not a real farmer. But I do know, as far as our field, the next thing that we need to do is lime, and I'm going to show you why when we do it, because it's going to make your fertilizing much easier. It's until you have the grasp of certain things, keeping straight lines can be really challenging, especially if you're using the keyboard or a mouse. Or not keyboard or mouse, but a keyboard or a controller. So we'll sit that right there out of the way. Now we need to be able to fertilize, so we got to have a fertilizer. So we're going to have to run back to the store because we don't have a fertilizer here on this farm. Yeah, we don't have a fertilizer spreader. So we got to go buy one. Yeah, we'll go down here and buy one. Actually, you know what? Let's don't go all the way down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mod called Store Deliveries and have it delivered. Just set that little point right there. And you do that by holding Shift and Alt, and then you press the S key together, and it will set you a delivery point. So let's come in here, fertilizer spreaders, under tools over here. All right, and you'll have to scroll down till you find fertilizer spreaders. And let's see, we need something that can do lime also, so we'll probably go with, looks like we'll go with the breed all here. It'll do 12 to 18 meters. That's fine. You can come in, you can have it with just the discs, or you can add an extension to it. That's a capacity extension. It holds 11,000 liters, which is a pretty good bit. We can even get it at the 9,000 liters, and that should probably be plenty for our fields. Wheel setup, we can put narrow tires on it. I typically put narrow tires on mine, just in case I need to use it to fertilize. I can go into the field and the narrow tires won't damage my crop. Working speed. Now this working speed, this is a mod that I have installed. I use this from time to time just to increase the speed of my equipment so that it doesn't take quite as long when I'm doing certain things. I kind of like to speed these up. And then spreading system. Right, we can just have the discs, and that'll cover 12 meters, and this will do 18 meters. I think we'll go with the discs, or not the discs, but the arms, just because they look cool. That's $54,000, and we don't have $54,000. We've only got 36. We're going to lease it. $2,754 to lease it. Base cost is $1,000, right? And the per day or per work day, it costs us $540. Per work hour is $1,000, or $1,134, whatever. And it totals up to the $2,754. But we only have to pay work day and work hours after we lease it. The base cost, we cover that now. So now we've got our lime spreader delivered to us. Now you would need to purchase your lime down at the shop, but if you have the deliveries, you can come back into your shop, go to the objects, you can go to big bag pallets, and there's lime here. That's 2,000 liters for $450. Or you can go into big bags, 2,000 liters for $350. Same amount, but it costs you less to get it in the big bag. So let's get it in the big bag. 2,000 liters, this thing holds 9. So we'll buy enough to put, well, there we go. That gives us that little bit extra. Yes. And now there's my bags. So what I can do, see, I don't have the hook hooked up on the front of the tractor, but what you can do is you can pull along beside it and just refill it from the ground. You don't have to use the big bag hooks. They're nice to use, but you don't have to. This is just an easier way to do it. You can just refill it right off the ground. You look close, you can tell which bag is actually being emptied out. It gets smaller. Calcium carbonate. And that's gonna top us off. So, oh, there's no cover on this one. Okay, cool. We got to unfold it. Both these fields actually need to be limed, but we're just going to concentrate on this one. We'll run down. Get her turned around. See, liming and fertilizing can be extremely quick. Before we get turned around here. Oh, we still got this little strip. You see it, yield bonus is now at 50%. Over here, it's at 38, 39. Depends on where you're standing there. We'll get all this over here. That's going to wrap that up. Now you're thinking to yourself, now I need to fertilize and it's still full of lime. Well, you can unload that lime. We're just going to pull down here on this grass and dump it out. When we unload it though, it's not going to unload in just one big pile. It's actually going to come out in bags. The way you do that is you just press Control I. Now the area has to be clear. If the area is not clear, it's not going to deliver that for you or drop it off, unload it for you. So we got our delivery set up on the other end here. So let's go back down to the other end. And we're going to get some fertilizer delivered to us. So we come in here and we got solid fertilizer. And you have to be careful whenever you come into these. If you come into pallets and you see that liquid fertilizer, that's liquid. It's not hold liquid. This holds a granular fertilizer, solid fertilizer. So you can buy 1,000 liters for $1,900 in these big bags or pallets or whatever. And same thing, 1,000 liters, but it's $100 less. So instead of buying these, which are easy to transport if you got, or store if you have a forklift, but you don't have a forklift, all you can do is manage these bags. So let's get us some fertilizer. Now this is much more expensive. Now, you can go ahead and load up. Well, we can only get 8 bags at a time, so we'll get 8 bags. That's $14,000 for that. Very expensive stuff. And like before, instead of using the front loader with the big bag hook, you can just pull along beside this and load it right off the ground. We'll get these bags loaded. We're going to load it all. That way you can see the usage, yourself. How much it actually uses whenever you fertilize this field. You'll see how much you have left over, and be able to determine whether you've got enough to do more fields or you need to buy more. Fertilizer is probably one of the most expensive things that you buy. All right, so let's get one more bag. That way it's completely full. And so far, as far as the money that we've been using, this is all money that you start with. I mean, even this tractor, we bought this tractor used. And, we've managed to upgrade some of the equipment and get some other equipment. As far as, I'm sorry, I haven't said it, but as far as the way that you refill off the ground, you just pull up next to it and press R. At least I don't think I said it. I may have said it. Yeah, unfold that back down. And we'll get up here. Now, we're at a 50% yield. Let's see what it does once we put some fertilizer to it. Now, we probably could have done this whole field in two swipes. All right. So we were at 50%. Now we're at 75%, 73%, depending on where you stand. So let's go ahead and get this other side done. And this is why you want to lime it before you fertilize it. It makes it real easy to see where you've where you fertilized and where you haven't. Okay, so now that that's done, there's still one thing left that we need to do for today. See, it still needs to be rolled. Those seeds need to be pushed down into the ground. So we're going to have a roller. And I could have swore we had a roller already, but it does not look like it. See if we got one on sale. There's not one on sale. So we'll go back to tools and rollers. All right. With a roller, you can improve the soil quality layer for your fields. And we need to roll. There's also, if you go to grassland care, there's rollers in here. Grass rollers and weeders improve the yield of your grass fields. Now, these are things that you'll use. These rollers, you typically use these on your grass fields. After you've cut the grass, instead of mulching it, you can roll it, or you can mulch it instead of rolling it, but you'll get the same benefit. So we don't need the seed, which could have been good, but we're just going to go with the standard one, and we'll lease it because we don't have 26,000. And we'll take this and just drop it over here out of the way. And we had us a roller delivered right down here. I didn't even look at the horsepower requirements on this thing. I just grabbed it. Now, as far as the horsepower requirements, sometimes you can get away with what it says it needs, and with something that's smaller. So we go to our lease. This is our garage. There's things we own, and these are things we have leased. Grassland care. So it only takes 100 horsepower. And the tractor that we have, it's well over. Now we got to roll it. So now that we're rolling, see, it says it needs rolling. Yeah, I knew this one was going to do this to me. Yeah, it only wants to roll it whenever you plant it. Let's grab the other roller. Rolling is not something I typically do to the fields. It's not a bonus I particularly worry about. So we'll go this route. And we'll lease. That's what we've already planted. Now, you see that ground state's changing. We're going from needs rolling to it's rolled. You're still only at 75% on the yield bonus. Still another step we're going to have to do. Now, once your grass grows, the other roller is the roller you're going to want to use. Me personally, like I said, I don't ever roll it. I'll use the mulcher and mulch it instead after I've cut the grass, and that seems to be a better method for me. Still get the 100% yield. Missed a little back there. It'll be all right. Doesn't have to be perfect. That little piece isn't gonna not gonna be the end of the world. Is that going to make it all the way to the edge? Almost. Look at that. That's just terrible. I mean, if you want, you can always come back down that side and roll that. If you're just, that OCD about having it all 100% and getting the absolute most out of your yield as possible, that little bit, quite honestly, is not going to be something I concern myself with. So we'll fold this up, and now we have plowed the field, removed the plow stake. We have limed it, and we have seeded it and fertilized it, and we still don't have it at 100%. But there's nothing else we can do to it today. As far as steps that we did, we mulched. First thing we did is we came out here after harvesting and we mulched this field. After we mulched the field, then we came back and it needed to be plowed, so we plowed the field. Now, plowing is not something you have to do every time. You can plow it once every 3 harvests. you can actually go and buy yourself a cultivator, a shallow cultivator, like one of these. These are these can be much wider than that plow. Like the plow we have is 4 meters. This is a 5 meter plow or cultivator, 17 or 7.5, 12, 14. They go on up. You know, 6 meter. This is a really good one right here. Another 12 meter. You know, I mean, these are really good options, or you know, as opposed to using a plow every time. It's just because they're lighter, they're faster, and you can get more done with them. And you know, but now that that's done, we need to go to bed for the next day so we can get to our next steps. But you know, I skipped on you. So we plowed, and then after we plowed, we came back and we seeded it. We planted it, and then after we seeded it, we came back through and we limed it, and then we fertilized it, and then we rolled it. So now that's all we can do today. We're going to go ahead and go to sleep. We get up, just might have a little bit of grass on the ground. Look at that. Grew overnight. But you see, it's only 50% fertilized, and it's only a plus 75% yield. So let's come back and grab our tractor, and let's grab our fertilizer. So we didn't use very much out of here. Out of that 9,000 liters, we only used 2%. So this field hasn't been fertilized at all. Now, if we would have fertilized this field at the same time as the other field, it would have shown a 50%. And since the grass has grown, we could fertilize it again, and then it would be at 100% on the fertilizer. So let's unfold it. Come through and we'll throw down some fertilizer. And you can see it kind of looks darker as you put the fertilizer down. Now this field shows 50% fertilized. Let's see, we've already got a fertilizer layer on this one over here. So when we step out into this field, it's already going to show that 50%. Now that the grass has actually grown one stage after we planted it, we can fertilize it again and get ourselves up to that 100% fertilizer bonus. So let's set up right here. See if we can do this in 2 passes. Go ahead and fertilize this field. And we'll just let it swing into this field. Come back down. And that gives us all of that field. So now this field is complete. And it says 98%. That's because our mulching bit didn't work for us while the stubble had already been taken away. But had the stubble not been taken away, it would show 100% on your yield bonus right here. I didn't set it up quite like I should have when I went into my dev tools, but it's no big deal. Still, you're at 98%. So the next time we do this, all we have to do is cut the grass. We got our mower up there. So we just drag this over and drop it. We can sell this pickup truck. Now, see it says Mobile Vehicle Workshop. That's a mod that I'm using. It allows me to basically, be a mechanic wherever I'm at, because, if you're out in the field and your tractor needs repaired, you don't always just take that to the shop. Sometimes you bring the tools out there yourself and work on it. Like I need to do a little repair here, so I'll just repair it here in the field. Keeps me from having to go all the way back to the shop every time. So now it's really just a waiting game. If you wanted to, you could pick up contracts. If you do contracts, come in to your, you just hit escape, come in, go down to the little pamphlets here. And then you got these different contracts you can do to make money. And you can use these to add to your wealth so that you can purchase bigger, better equipment. Or if there's something that you're missing, say things didn't work out quite the way they did for me, for you as you came through here, like you weren't able to purchase this tractor that has more horsepower, and you wanted to be able to use larger implements, so you go do some contracts, make you a little extra money, and then buy you a larger tractor. And it's all just part of the process. What I'm going to do, since I never drive this truck, we're just going to go ahead and sell it. We can get $22,000 out of it. If you take it to the shop, you get more money. Now, when you use the mobile workshop, it works just like taking it to the shop, so you still get the maximum dollar for it when you sell it, which is pretty awesome. But we still can't cut the grass, so time to go back to sleep. So we're not doing any contracts. With contracts, they work the same way as they'll have something that they want you to do, one specific task, whether it's harvesting or whatever. Now, some of these crops, like grass, can have multiple steps. Like these baling contracts, for this one, they want you to ted the grass, and when you ted the grass, you drying it out so that you can make hay bales. Some of these are going to want you to make silage bales, and that for those you actually have to make the bale and then wrap it. So these are actually the baling contracts. It doesn't look like a lot of money, but once you get through with them, they pay really good. That $5,000 that you're going to make for this, not only are you going to make that $5,000, but whenever you take those bales and you sell them, the farmer only wants so many of those bales. All the extra bales, you get paid on those too. So you actually make good money doing these. And the bigger the contract, the more money you're going to make. Cultivating, all they want you to do is go drag your plow through the field. That's it. Just one of those steps that you would do. Harvesting, be careful with harvesting. You get something like these red beets. Now, this DeWolf machine it shows right here, that thing's great, but it's really only good for multiplayer. It doesn't work very good in single player. You have to hire a worker for it, and then you're going to have to cart for them. And if that worker decides that you're not helping, he might just quit on you, and then you'll have a nightmare on your hands. Cotton, that's not a regular harvester. That's a cotton harvester. And cotton harvesters, they're very expensive. So if you don't already have a cotton harvester, you can borrow the items and it will reduce your reward just by a little. You still make over $7,000, but you borrow this stuff. They're gonna let you borrow a tractor and a trailer to haul the bales that you get. That's parsnips. That's another, red beets, parsnips, carrots. All of those are gonna have this DeWolf sugar beets. Now these are base game sugar beet harvester. This one you can use on your own much easier. The red beets, that's another harvester you can use on your own much easier, but it's a single row. And if it's a decent sized field, you're going to hate life before you ever finish that contract. Sunflowers, this header that goes on this combine, it's a sunflower header. It's different than the one that we used. We used a header like this for wheat. As a matter of fact, we used this header on our combine. But you also have corn headers, and corn headers also have sunflower headers. Some of these will do sunflower and corn. But when you're in these headers like this only do sunflower. So you have to be a little cautious until you understand what you're looking at before you buy something, because you might think, wow, that looks like a really cool header and I'd like to use that, but it may only work for sunflowers. So be careful of that. Anyhow, back in the contract, this one, sunflowers, you can borrow their equipment because you don't have the right kind of header. You could lease the header, but you could just borrow their equipment. You can use their harvester, their little tractor and trailers, and then same here. Soybeans, you can actually use your equipment. You don't have to borrow anything. You've already got a trailer and you've got a harvester. You can just accept it and go do it. Sowing, they want you to plant. You've already got a planter. They want you to do wheat. You've already got a seeder, so you can just take and plant wheat for them. It's just easy ways to make some extra cash. All right. It says its grass is ready to harvest. Look at that. Man, that growed fast. Really feels like it's got another growth stage. We'll check that out. Right here. Some grass. Make it show up. See this? Ready to harvest. Now, this field's at 98%. This other field, where we just gave it a little squirt just over. See, it's only at 46%. And had it not gotten that little bit of fertilizer, look how only 20%. So we did all the stages to this one. Minus the mulching, cut me some slack there. I didn't set it up properly, but we did the mulching. Had we done had it needed to be mulched, we would have had 100% yield bonus. We didn't mulch this field. We didn't do squat diddly to it other than let a little bit of fertilizer get thrown on this end. And as we walk down through this field, look at it drops all the way down to 20, only a 20% yield bonus. You're losing so much crop here. And if we go over to the other one, we gave it one fertilizer, but we didn't roll it. We didn't lime it. We didn't do anything. and it's just a plus 58%. So if you go through the steps, even if you mess up a small one, 98%, 98% is a whole lot better than 58%. You're getting another 40% more yield off of this field compared to the others. I mean, heck, you're getting more than that off of this one. You're getting, 78% more off of this one compared to the one on the end. So you cut this grass, you're going to get a lot more grass off of this field than you will the other fields. So get the mower. And we got to have our front mower. Okay, so let's cut that one on. Switch it over here, drop that down, cut this one on. Let's mow some grass. Now to get this up, we're going to need to windrow it. And then we're going to need a baler. Or we're going to need a forge wagon. Now, just get out of my way. See, this mower, I mean, this is not an expensive mower. It's but it gets the job done really quick. Back that up. Sometimes I like to just go around the perimeter of the field and create a headland, and then just come back and harvest inside of that. Sometimes I'll just go back and forth. In this particular case, we're just going back and forth just for time's sake. You can do it however you like. You know, I mean, it's up to you. You don't got to do any of it. We got all these clippings though. See if we can visually see the difference. Oh yeah. You can see how solid these lines are. This one's not so solid, but you can see how solid these lines are in this field compared to the other field, as far as how well Yay. It's just over on the left side. Just notice how thick that line is going down. And when you get to this next field, you see it starts off solid because there's fertilizer there. But where the fertilizer ends, you can see how it's gapped up. The yield there is just not nearly as high. Man, it's my grass, right? Just go ahead and cut that too. You don't have to stick to the field. It doesn't do you any good to do anything extra to this grass on the outside of your field. You won't get any bonus for fertilizing it or rolling it or anything, but it's free grass. And I don't recommend cutting it all the way up to the road because there's a certain part there where it becomes county property, and then it's going to become a bit of a pain for you as far as trying to get it up. So let's go ahead and put these tools away. Now we got to windrow it. We'll drop that right there. Spin around. We'll drop that right there. All right, now come back in here to the tools. We got to go down to the windrowers. Windrowers. Now, there's a bunch of different kinds in here. We don't want anything crazy big. We don't want anything terribly small either. At 8.4 meters, that's probably pretty decent as far as this field goes. I think that's what we'll go with. Go with this here. And we're going to lease it. Now it's waiting on us down on the other end. Get that unfolded. Let's lower it down. And let's start putting it all in a row. It's to where it's nice and easy for you to just to pick it up off the field with a baler. Get everything all put up in a row, and then we can look at our balers to see what we want to use. And see if we want to use a fork or if we want to use something else to get it off the field. There's different options. In some cases you could use an auto load trailer, actually pick the bales right up off the field for you. Or you could use a front loader with forks. And as far as how I do it, it really just kind of depends on the mood I'm in that day. Sometimes I enjoy doing the work manually. Sometimes I just want to take it easy. Now we'll start getting this more uniform. Just taking it off of that row and giving it to this row. And see, that's the point of doing headlands, is so you have room to, turn around. Which that's kind of a, weak job, but, it'll do. Probably going to snatch a little more off the end of this rope to add to this rope. And nope, we're not. Just going to turn it around. That's a tight fit. And drop that back down. So there's little bits like that you miss. It's not that big a deal. I mean, because it's kind of clumped up in its own little line, when you start getting all the rows up, the main parts, if you want to clean up a little, you can always come back and clean up a little. That's a little bit of wheat that got left behind, or straw. But yeah, I mean, you can always just come back and clean that kind of stuff up. You don't have to really fret over it. It's not a big deal. Now with windrows, I am starting these and having them all just kind of single filed right there. I do like to bring it into the field more whenever I do this, because if you're really close to somebody else's field, it's not going to let you get that stuff up. And that can be kind of a frustrating thing for you. You can see your grass right there, but it just won't let you get to it. Got that. Yeah, there we go. Got all this. We're good. We can just fold this back up. Give this a home right here. Now we got to have a baler, so we know it's going to deliver on the other end here. So let's come in here, go to our balers. We're on tools again, tools, come down the top, the balers, and there's a wide variety of balers. Now this is a square baler. It's a 120 centimeter square bale. Now, the 120 centimeter, those are baby bales. They're little tiny baby bales. You can go and you can get something like this bale stacker, and it becomes kind of a two-part project, I guess you could say. We're not going to go that route. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to, We're going to wrap these bales. We're going to make silage out of them. So we need a bale wrapper. You know, and the way you can tell that it wraps, like you see, this is a opened up bale. It's hollow on the inside. This is a round bale. That's round bale. Then here we go. This is a round bale, and this is a wrapped round bale. These are both 125 centimeters. They're the small round bales, so don't really want those. But this one will do 150s. Now they go much larger than the 150. The 150 is kind of a medium-sized bale, but I think that's where we're going to start. We're going to lease the piece of equipment to come in here and see wrapper design. It says with a bale end turner. Now the cool thing about the bale end turner is if you're actually grabbing these things off the field, it'll stand your bales up. Or if you're on a field that is very sloped, it'll stand the bales up on their end when it drops them off, and that keeps them from rolling away. But we're on a relatively flat field. We're just going to go with the standard. As far as the color, I kind of like the green, maybe the blue. Yep, and that'll work. Now let's lease it. It's going to cost us $4,300. But we're going to need a bale trailer. Bale loaders. Now, these attach to your tractor, and you can just pick up 2 at a time with these. This trailer will actually carry multiple bales. I'm not sure if that's auto load. Lots of different bale trailers. These are for square bales. These will both do square and round bales. But these trailers like this, these are auto load. All right? And it'll do the 125 to a 180. Since we got the 150s, it comes in between that. This trailer will work for us. Let's get this trailer. We're going to lease it also. Now, head down the field here. We got us a bale trailer, and we got us a baler. Bale trailer's in the way, so let's just move it out of the way. To me, these are really super cool trailers. Sit that down. Now, all this that I'm showing you, these are all like the very basic things. There's, you know, the very basic stuff is also typically the more correct way to do things, or, you know, it tends to be the more manual way of doing things. There's tons of mods that you can get that will shortcut a lot of things. Even the rolling the field, I mean, there's a mod that will roll the fields for you. You know, you don't, as you seed, it automatically rolls. But we've got to unfold our baler, so let's go ahead and unfold our baler. And you see the little wheel. We have to lower it down, so we have to press V to to lower it, and we got to press B to turn it on. All right. Now there's one more thing that we can do. So this little baler, it has a bone silage tank, and the bone silage is an additive that it's a liquid additive that we can put in here, and whenever we pick up the grass, it'll mix that bone silage into the bale, and it helps it to ferment. But the bonus or the benefit that we get out of it is we actually will get 10% more off of our fields. So if we come in here to the objects and over to pallets and scroll over bone silage additive, We're just going to buy a pallet. Now we're spending a lot of extra cash. Oh wait, no, this one doesn't have the bone silage tank. My bad. But if it did have the bone silage tank, we add this into it, and it would actually increase our yield by 10%. As we picked it up, we get an extra bonus 10%. So you can really, if you have your yield up to 100% and you have the right baler, let's look at those again real quick. It'll have a tank that will hold the bone silage. Let's see. These are all square balers. This is a round baler. Has this one got the bone silage tank? This one does not. Does not. None of these do. And none of these do. You're like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. There we go. Silage additive. That one has the tank. You can add it to this. Now, it's a square baler. It doesn't wrap the bales, but you can wrap the bales yourself. Should be a round baler, I would imagine. That one doesn't do it. There we go. This is a round baler that adds it. Now this is a DLC baler, but that one does it. I knew there was one in here. So apparently there's not many of them that have it, but look for it, because you do get a bonus from it. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's very many that do it, but there are some. So the ones that I tend to use almost always have it. I don't use this one very often. I do occasionally, but it's not my go-to. So we'll press V and we'll lower this down. We'll press B and turn it on. And that's going to pick all that up. Now we got to get it turned around. We'll head down this road. And we'll pick up all the grass. I see it's almost full. There we go. It's full. That's going to spit it out. It's going to wrap it up. Now, when it goes to spit it out, you need to stop because it stops picking up grass. Now, you'll come in here. You see, it didn't put the bale down. And it's not showing you to automatically drop in here. And I even have the extended menu. Now, when it gets to this state, you need to press the Z button on your keyboard, and it turns it to automatic drop. So you see it just popped up over here, the Z. Now it says turn off automatic drop. You can press Z again, turn on automatic drop. We want to leave it on so that it will drop the bales for us. Now we'll take off again. We can close that back up. Almost full. Oh, you can see we went past it, so we got to back up. Now it's closed, and now it'll pick up again. It'll be a little tricky trying to get all that just right. Hear that little buzzer? You hear that buzzer, you really want to slow down. Save yourself a whole lot of headache. Now the bales that we're making are the 125s. If we press L, you'll see here, we can change it to the 150s. If we press L again, it goes back to the 125. I'm gonna keep it on the 150. We'll just have these few small bales. That way we can show you the difference in those two. Well, go ahead and get this. It's kind of a thin row here. We might make it a little further down before it spits a bale out on this one. Got them easy listening jams going. Yep. Yeah, good deal. Missed that front loader attachment. I keep on swinging around. I'm just going to hit up this headland. Get these little clumps up some. Get what we missed here. Or, wait. Is that not picking it up at all? Well, how you like them apples? Are we on that county property right there? Surely it's not. Oh, ain't that just something? All right, Mr. Mayor, you can have my cut grass. Now, you'll also find in the mod hub some balers that will have a buffer on those. So you can just keep on driving and it keeps on filling up. And it'll open up and let the bale out, wrap it and drop it. When it opens up, you don't have to stop. You just keep right on going. We should pick that little bit of straw up when we go over it too. Yep, we did. Now, if you pick up too much of one thing, it'll change what you have in here. Like if we'd have picked up, say, 50% grass and then switched over and grabbed straw, that straw is going to, before it fills up, it's going to become the thing that's in there the most, even though it's at 50%. And it's going to change your grass to straw. It can be kind of a handy thing to know, because I have had fields that had a little wet grass in it that were hay fields that I had tedded, and those fields, whenever I was going around and picking it up, getting that hay, I would ease over and grab a little bit of the grass each time I went around, until I had finally gotten all the grass up a little bit at a time. So I didn't leave anything behind, but because I was only getting a little bit at a time, instead of my hay bales becoming grass bales, they stayed hay bales, so I kept the dry hay. So it's a handy little thing to use from time to time. Run into the porch. Ooh, Mama's gonna be mad. Just going to leave those other clumps. See, now that we've cut this grass, we're getting it all up. Now that process of taking care of the field starts all over. You know, the whole cultivating it and all that stuff. Now, because it's grass-free grows. We don't need to cultivate. So we cut a step out. That's one of the best things about grass. You know, it's a good money crop, and it's a lot easier to maintain than some of the other stuff. So as you just getting started out, you know, you can kind of learn the steps, you know, as you repeat them here, and make some good money to buy some better equipment, maybe buy you another field, and start planting something besides grass. It's just a really good win-win crop. It really is. And got it. Up a little bit. Now, if you're anything like me, when I first started playing, you know, they got this thing on here called a biogas plant. I've never in my life heard of a biogas plant. It's not something we have around here. I can tell you that. All right, we got all that up. We got a little bit of grass still in here, which is fine. Just set this right down here. These other grass fields, we're not going to worry about these other grass fields. We're just going to go on with the southern. Come down here and we grab our bale trailer. Remember, some of these bales are 125 and some are 150. Well, there's a little bit of a stinker when it comes to that sort of thing. So we got that. Press B and that unfolds it. And you can see these two bales here, there's a height difference. One's bigger than the other. This is that little baby 125. We just catch it in there and it'll auto load it. Now, we swing back around. If we try to get this 150, it won't load it. It'll only load bales of the same size. So let's grab our other little 150. And I think we got one more right there. Yeah, and that should be the last one. That should be all our 150s. So let's take these and we'll back it up right here. That'll work. Now if we press Y on the keyboard, it should show you right here, unload bales, press Y. It's going to unfold it. It's going to push these bales onto the back. All right, now if we press Y again, it's going to set those bales right off. And if we press Y one more time, it's going to reset it all. Why, you ask? It's going to bring that back up and reset it. All right, so now we can just press B again. Lower that arm one more time. And we head on around the field and get the rest of these up. Now, as far as that biogas plant that I was saying, I think one of those things we got around here, that's typically what I'll do with my bales is I'll take them down to the biogas plant and I'll store them there because they don't have a whole lot of room here on the farm. It's also a good money maker for you. it goes really good with grass fields. You can take silage down there, and you can turn that silage into money. Fold this up. It's one of the productions that are available to you as far as growing grass, that sort of thing. The biogas plant is an excellent source of income. You take your silage down to the biogas plant, and it'll use that to make digestate, which you can use as a fertilizer, or you can sell it. But it also generates power, like a power plant. You know, generates electricity. You can sell the electricity and make some extra cash. There's other things that you can bring here too, like slurry and manure if you were raising cattle. Now, these bins here, these are silage bins. And if you have a forage wagon, you can just bring it down here and dump it. So that's what we're gonna, that's probably what we're gonna do next. You gotta leave a little room, because when you unfold this thing, if you don't leave some room, it's gonna hit that wall. Pull them out just a little bit. You don't want them too close to the back wall either. You get them too close to the back wall, well, you got a tractor that's in front. If you got to pull forward down there to grab them, it's kind of hard with the tractor in the way. Press Y again. We'll ease them on out of there. Press Y again. Fold all that up. Uh-oh, I got too close to the wall. Now, the reason we haven't sold these bales yet is they got to have time to ferment. You look in that bottom right corner, it says 0% fermenting. Okay. But once they are ready to sell, you just bring it right over here. And this bin here, this place you can sell it. But because it's not fermented, it won't sell, because they don't take grass. So let's do this now. Let's, where you at? Where the heck is my, oh, there we go. Let's go. Let's just teleport back. Now, let's just say we don't want to pick up bales. So we don't get a bale loading trailer. You know, and let's just say we don't want to even make bales. So we don't get us a baler. All right, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, we don't want to do any of those things. We just want to be able to get the grass off the field. Okay. Well, no problem. Let's get ourselves a forage wagon. Now, got this little fella here, old 16,000 liters, and they go on up let's see, that was 23,000. This one holds 26, 35, 44. Yep. Well, we got these modded trailers here too. This one will hold up to 500,000 liters. This one is only up to 50. You know, let's get wild and crazy. Yep, let's make us a white wagon. And give it a dark gray. Yep. Let's do that. Silage additive tank. Sure, why not? Yep. And looks good. Let's lease that. Yep. Now we just need some grass to put in it. So let's mow us another field. We got one left. Oops. Go. I think we'll just a quick headland around this field. Kind of gives us a buffer zone. My bad. That's what I get for parking it that so close to the field there. Alright. Got our buffer zone. Come on now, guy. Work with me. Zippity-doo-dah. I'm not going to worry about whether it's perfect. Just going to get her cut in as terrible a fashion as possible. This is all just for demonstration anyhow. Had this have been for my own field, I would have taken more time. I'd have made sure I got all my grass, which I'll probably end up doing anyhow because that OCD will flare up on me if I don't. Yeah. All right, and there's just this little bit right here that I kind of missed. So told you we was gonna get it. All right. Oh, look at it. Still missed it. All right. Yeah. All folded up. Let's see, where did we thread the windrow? Over here where it was hard to get to. Genius. I was thinking we were done with it, but then it was like, you know what? Let's show the forge wagon. Why not? Kind of goes good with the BGA, especially on this map. All right, so let's lower that bad boy down, get her kicking. Yeah, mule. We'll get this all rode up. It's gonna take but a second to get this done. That fancy driving. Fancy, bo fancy. Almost there. Also can show the bone silage. Yeah, that's good enough. Hold that back up. Now let's add the bone silage to this too, because this field, it's not going to have the best yield. It's better than the one that was behind us. We're going to be able to put the whole thing in here. Typically, one of these trailers will only hold around 10 liters. The pallet is 60 liters. But this is a modded trailer. It's ridiculously broken, so you can put the entire pallet into it, and it holds 500,000 liters. Purpose for that is so that oh, excuse me. The purpose for just grabbing this trailer is just because of its ridiculous capacity. I know that it will get up the entire crop without having to be unloaded. So a little bit of time saving going on there. We'll lower it down and start picking it up, just like the baler. It's just a really big baler, and it's not going to bale. See the grass coming into it. I know you're thinking, well, why wouldn't you want to do it this way every time? Well, not everybody likes putting the loose grass into turn it so tight, binding it up. Not everybody likes to put it into a silo. Some people like to bale it and let it ferment in the bales. I kind of enjoy doing it both ways. Putting it in a silo is probably my preferred way to do it. I do tend to use modded silos. The silos I use, they look more like the silo that we put the wheat in right there. But they're only for fermenting. this little loose here. And we'll grab this little loose here. Speed back down to the other end. And we'll finish it up right here. Now this poor little old field only produced 12,000 liters, which in this trailer doesn't look like much. But again, this trailer holds 500,000 liters. It's really broken. So what we can do now is still just grass, but we got a little more grass out of that because of the silage, the bone silage that we put in there, or bond silage, however you want to say it. I like calling it bone silage. Maybe it's just me because of that. I don't know. And we'll drive back up here. And when we get up here to the biogas plant, these big concrete areas where I just dropped off the bales just a moment ago, those are silos. They're used for fermenting. So what we're going to do is this silo here, we're going to dump it in that corner so that it can ferment. All right, and Control I. It may not let us because it doesn't belong to us. Okay, well, it doesn't belong to us, but so I can show this. I do believe there should be a trigger. There it is. Let me down. You jump over the rail. See, it says buy production point. It cost $1.5 million. So let's